no idea what this is about. Cool.
Read the consent form.
Consent is important, Ricky.
Wanna read them? That's good.
Problem, like if I go like this, it's comfortable, but it looks weird. If I go like this.
Alright, it says all white men are thieves and drug addicts. Just my opinions about it. I mean, I also think this is just a generalization. You shouldn't automatically assume if someone's a white man that they're a thief and a drug addict, because that's just untrue.
It's just weird looking at it saying all white men, because usually you'll see like the word black instead of white, like so all black men are thieves and drug addicts, so it's just different seeing like white men.
When you search crack into Google, you see pictures of white men with shaved heads who like itching their skin a lot. The thieves part makes me kind of chuckle a little bit because I've never heard it, but the drug addict one I don't like per se.
I don't really know. Kind of just like,
I guess there's always a stereotype with this certain guy who knows the hookups to like maybe marijuana, and they always like picture this white dude instead of another race. But yeah.
I don't know, I'm just so used to like, I never hear like white men are thieves and drug addicts, so it kind of makes me uncomfortable because it's like, now the roles are reversed, so I don't really know how to like react to it.
Can I get a different one?
All Asians are terrorists. Not true. That's very much stereotypical. I don't like seeing that because you can't judge a book by its cover. And everybody's got a story. Everybody's got something they need to tell. It's just.
Well, we all know that this is not true. And yeah.
All Asians are terrorists. Hi. I'm Muslim or Arab, and a lot of people say I'm a terrorist. So it's funny to see that it's like switched to like Asians, because I've never heard that before.
I think anyone can be a terrorist, not just one specific race or culture, if that makes sense. I think it's more so like, I don't know, anyone can be a terrorist, so I feel like it shouldn't just be like this category is a terrorist or this category is a terrorist. Like anyone can be a terrorist.
It feels like too biased and like there's no content to this stereotype. That's it.
So how does this stereotype make you feel?
Angry.
Well, being called a terrorist sucks, because I'm probably the most nice person ever, and I really hate violence. I'm really against that. So being called a terrorist pisses me off.
I feel like people get judged so easily, and it's like you can't just look at someone and be like, oh, they're gonna go bomb something. Like, that's false, and that's just so rude to think of somebody.
People see the color of my skin. I'm white, and so they see privilege. When in fact, my father's an Italian immigrant, so he comes to America with $100 in a briefcase, and he's worked for everything my family has. But people see it as, oh, he's just not given everything because he's white. And I was in a class similar to it was race, class, gender, ethnicity in high school, and I was the only white guy. And this girl, a black girl, started, because they did a presentation on white privilege, and she got angry over a point, and she starts, like, she points at me like, you don't know what I understand, you don't know what it's like. And it's not true, because I've gone through some things as an immigrant, as an immigrant family, first generation. Like, I've had to run away from cops. I've had to do stuff that people usually don't think a white person has to deal with, so. Yeah.
All Indians want to become doctors. I never really heard this one before. So
I know some Indian people who their parents kind of want them to become doctors, but they didn't really want to do that. So it's a stereotype, but like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like people should be able to do what they want to do. And yes, doctors can be like successful, but I don't know.
So how does the stereotype make you feel?
Agitated, and uncomfortable, especially because some of my closest buddies are Indian, and so like they don't want to be scientists, they don't want to be doctors, they want to be like scientists, they want to be like, I know one doesn't want to be a music teacher, I know one wants to go into the police force, so.
So I actually know a few Indian people, and none of them want to be doctors. I don't know, I feel like it's kind of weird, because that's obviously not the case.
it's not really like good or bad. It's kind of like, I don't know. I never heard this one before. This is weird. I know a lot of stereotypes, but I never heard this one. I guess I could see it offensive. It's like saying that like they're nerdy, or something. I don't know.
It's the first thing that comes to mind.
Well, like, it's not true. Like, anyone could be a doctor. Anyone could want to become a doctor. Like, I know Indians who aren't doctors, so I just think that statement's incorrect.
We can't say that. I mean, yes, there's like young doctors, like 20 or 18-year-olds who are becoming doctors who are Indian. But it doesn't, like me, we have to like subject to say like, oh, that's all they want to become. Like, they could become whatever they want to become. A teacher, a fireman, whatever. Doesn't matter what occupation.
I hear a lot of people say all white people want to become doctors, which isn't really true, because anyone can be a doctor.
It's very judgmental.
It's kind of judgmental.
It's like what I said for the first point, where it's like judging a book by its cover. It's very like, oh, you're Indian, you want to do this. Oh, Indian, you want to do that. Where you got to listen to the person's story before you come up with any assumptions about what they want to do or what they want to be.
You're like labeling people.
All Mexicans in America are illegal immigrants. I've definitely heard this one before in the recent political events.
All Mexicans in America are illegal immigrants. Okay, wow. I find this one actually more offensive than the previous one. This one kind of tickles me a little bit.
That's not true. Like, you can't say all Mexicans are. I know a lot of Mexicans and they're all citizens, so that's pretty dumb.
This is like a very barbaric statement, you know, something that I will never believe in.
So I've never actually met an illegal Mexican. I've met people that came here and like got their green cards and stuff, but I've never actually met like an illegal immigrant in general. I definitely feel like that would be more common like down south near the border than up here, because we're in New Jersey.
I hate it, especially because one of my closest friends is a Mexican, and she gets made fun of constantly for being a Mexican. Like, oh, you're illegal, oh, your family came here illegally. And I have another friend who actually is an illegal immigrant, but he's from Peru. But besides the point, people don't know that about him because he's not Mexican, he's Peruvian, and they think that, oh, if you're not from Mexico, you're legal, you came here the legal way. So I don't like this stereotype at all.
And you said you've heard this before.
Yes.
Was it in conversation, online, or in a book, or a newspaper, whatever?
Well, I would say politics, and I know he didn't say it in this way, but our president, like, I think he just have this mindset that all Mexicans in America are illegal immigrants.
I mean, ever since Donald Trump, it's became really prevalent, and yeah, it's just, no one should really think that way.
So where have you heard this stereotype?
School, mostly high school. I was in the music program at high school, so whenever we went to different schools, we would hear some of the other bands make fun of them and whatnot. It's just not right.
Honestly, it's a little sad because I definitely feel like Mexicans are more prone to be like, oh, you're illegal, like go back to where you came from, but that's not the case most of the time.
My parents are immigrants, and you know, like getting to this country is kind of tough. Like you gotta go through a lot of visa processes and whatnot. And saying that all Mexicans in America are illegal immigrants is kind of rude, because it's tough. Like it's tough to get into America with like legal citizenship, and even then, it's tough to like stay in here as well.
I think everyone's heard of this stereotype before.
Do you believe stereotypes are ingrained in our culture?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Like, I know a lot of people who think certain ways, and I find myself kind of stereotyping people sometimes, which isn't a good thing, but it's been so, like, engraved in our minds that it's the first thing that really pops into our mind when we see people for the first time or when we meet someone.
I feel like naturally anyone, speaking for myself, speaking for other people, if you look at someone, you kind of automatically assume something without trying to. It just kind of happens. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's not bad if you don't act on your stereotype, but if you do act on your stereotype, then it's a completely different situation.
Through history, such as the Jim Crow laws, it goes back then with like, say if we put Jim Crow laws and white privilege, it's like it's ingrained by like what happened in like that time, and yeah,
Okay.
you can't run for it. It's like it's history, you know.
So I believe that every human is, or the parents pass their stereotypes onto their kids from like that early age when you don't really remember what happened, but you know what happened because your parents took videos of it from like when you were born to about kindergarten-ish, and then it's up to you on your own to whether or not you want to fight against those stereotypes or you're going to believe what they say and go along with them.
It's definitely how you're raised, and I feel like obviously as we get older, like we don't believe in them as much, but from our parents and our grandparents who were obviously raised to be more like racist than we are, they believe in a lot of stereotypes. So it's kind of just been passed down along the generations.
You hear them constantly everywhere, right?
Yeah.
As you've been telling us before. Where exactly have you heard certain stereotypes, or, you know, like give us a little bit of insight as to what you've seen and heard?
I'm on the internet a lot, and I don't like using like fake profile pictures and whatnot. I use my first name. My first name is very like Middle Eastern, and my face looks Middle Eastern. There's a lot of hateful people on the internet where, let's say, someone just called me a terrorist, or someone says something ignorant like go back to like Pakistan or something. Like I'm not even from Pakistan, and I don't know. I mean, it used to bother me when I was like a emotional little kid, but I've grown up.
All of these stereotypes that you've read, do all of them make sense, or are all of them, in a sense, true, or are some of them mixed up?
No, some of them were mixed up.
Have you heard of all of them before?
Not all of them, but some of them, yes.
Do you think that some of them might belong to a different race?
Yes.
Can you say which ones in particular?
Sure, Asians with the cats and dogs, which is not true, but I did hear it from other people.
All Asians are terrorists. No one says that. I think that's a test to me to like try to correct it. So I did.
It's weird for people to say these things, and like for a couple of them, I never heard it before.
Sometimes I think stereotypes are funny. Like a lot of comedians use stereotypes to like make most of their comedy.
Comedy as a whole is usually used as a means to sort of communicate injustices that go on in society. Do you think that that's a valid way to talk about certain problems that are happening today?
Not really.
No.
If you like make jokes about something, people will get offended. Like no matter what it is, you could be talking about like dog eatings, like dogs being eaten in China. People will make jokes about it, and some people will get like PETA. They'll get offended by it because they're trying to like stop it.
Right.
But jokes are jokes. At the end of the day, jokes are jokes, and you you shouldn't get hurt from jokes, but people will. So it's both your job and the person receiving the joke's job to try not to get offended.
How can we combat stereotypes just as a whole? What can we do to stop them?
Thank you for elaborating that question. I feel like you kind of can't stop them because you can't stop what comes out of someone else's mouth. You just kind of have to show people that they're wrong and prove them wrong, because people don't. You can say something to somebody, but they're not going to believe it. More so, actions speak louder than words. You have to show them that what they're thinking and what they're believing is false.
See, that's kind of a tough question because I don't really think you can. Obviously, as we get older, we know that these things aren't true, so we'll stop passing those down. But there's really no way to combat it. You just kind of have to grow out of it and pass like better things on to the next generation.
Just be more aware of it. Like I said, be aware to your ignorance.
Not believing in them, not listening to them. Realizing that not everything is as clean cut as it seems. There's no black and white, because you can't have black and white without gray.
That's a good question. I really don't know. Personally, I don't combat stereotypes. I like, if someone stereotypes me, I laugh.
I don't know. I can't answer that.
I believe that as long as you hear a person's story, that everyone is just human. Everyone is created human. Everyone has the same 2 legs that you do. Maybe not the same shape, but everyone has 2 legs. Everyone has 2 arms for the most part. Everyone has a head. And then the rest is just flavor.